Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge with your latest football news, and as it says there, it's soul destroying. Not again. We're talking VAR. I want to talk a little bit about the Super League as well and what Perez said yesterday, but the big thing I want to talk about is VAR, and I know the comments are going to be popping off here, and look, I appreciate and respect that we have the opportunity in this community to be able to talk about stuff like this and not just have to generate some transfer headline to try and get people to watch it, to have the confidence and ability as a community to be able to digest and discuss these things is our strength. And you have to, obviously, as part of that, take on both sides. But I cannot stop criticising the PGMOL and VAR and what they're doing to football, because it is soul destroying, because they are destroying football. And we take the weekend into account and things will get forgotten. You know, Vincent Kompany, when James Trafford was fouled, was absolutely right. It'll get brushed aside because it's only Burnley. And the same thing will happen because it's only West Ham. And the same thing will happen because it's only Nottingham Forest. And the bottom line is that consistency in the Premier League is basically only adhered to by incompetence of the PGMOL and the VAR. And we're going to delve into that because I remember saying after Liverpool had that goal onside, ruled out as offside, that they will just bury their heads in the sand and let it go. They won't make any big changes. How can the best league in the world, the most powerful league in the world, that's governed officially by PGMOL in relation to in-game officials, how can they, in front of the whole world, allow an onside goal to be given offside and then do absolutely nothing about it? I mean, it happened months ago and they've done nothing. There's been no policy change, nothing. It's basically, let's just carry on making crap decisions. They've made no effort to cater for or, appease or comfort the people that pay their wages, which is football fans who turn up and, basically are the life source of football. I think it's disgusting that they haven't made any changes, and I think it's disgusting that they continue to be incompetent. Before I get into exact details here, because there's a lot to get into, and I'm sure you want to get your comments in as well, can I just give a big shout out to Goldbridge Saves Football podcast that me and Will do? Please do check it out. Links in the description. Just search it up on iTunes and Spotify. Like this channel, it's a really important podcast and we want it to do well because it talks about the things that other people don't want to talk about. It's about loving football. It's about not always being right, but it's about being passionate and building a community. And, if you're out on a walk, down the shops, doing the shopping, you can have your earpiece in, listen to the podcast. It's a different type of consumable content. Please get behind the movement, Goldbridge Saves Football, and help it grow, because you are the people that have made this channel grow, and I know you can do it with the podcast as well. So thanks for your support. Some big things we're talking about there: signing of the season, the title race. Pratt of the Week is a real big surprise this week. Just make sure you give it a listen. But look, funnily enough, it's not an official. I mean, which shows you how big a Pratt of the Week must be. But look at this weekend. Let's start off with the Bournemouth-Liverpool game. Let's start off with Kluivert's tackle, which quite simply goes over the top. I mean, look, I've played the game, Gary, and he goes into that tackle with his foot like that. It's angled. He wants to come down on the ball with his studs. That is reckless. It is out of control. If you've played football at any level, when you're taught to tackle, you don't tackle by basically putting your foot up. The reason you do that is because it's forceful and dangerous, and it protects you. That's why people do it. And he's gone into a 50-50, protected himself by putting his studs up. He's gone over the top of the ball and he's landed on a dangerous position on the Liverpool player. That is a red card every single time it happens, and it has been a red card every time we've seen it before Christmas. For some reason, the PGMOL over the last 2 weeks have decided that that is not a red card anymore, because Gusto didn't get one last week against Fulham, who were robbed, and Liverpool didn't get one against Bournemouth this week. So the PGMOL have actually done something. They have taken something on board. They've taken a system that actually everybody understood, and they've made it worse. So if before Christmas you lost a player for 3 games because of a tackle, and you drop points maybe because of that, you've been disadvantaged now because the PGMOL are saying, You can do that tackle now. You can foul a goalkeeper as well. We know that. We learnt that last week. But you can now leave your studs in. Or can you? Because next week somebody will do what Clivert did or what Gusto did and they'll get sent off. And this is the inconsistency. You then roll into the West Ham game and utter chaos. Utter chaos. You see a penalty at the end of the game where the goalkeeper's actually fouled. And it doesn't get overturned because on the pitch they said it was a penalty and therefore VAR look at it and go, well, it's not clear and obvious. We need to remove this subjective clear and obvious nonsense from the PGMOL guidelines. If I'm a referee and I give a penalty and then VAR looks at it and goes, that's very soft, but you can see why he's given it on the pitch. So it's not clearly and obviously wrong, so we'll stick with it. As the referee on the pitch, I don't mind being overruled if I've got it wrong because I'm watching the game in real time. Your job with the computer is to look at that and go, a penalty was given for that last week, last month, 2 months ago, that's what a penalty is. A handball was given for that, that's the guideline, it's a handball. A red card's been given for that, it's a handball. The reason, and this is the mic drop moment, the reason the PGMOL are messing up the Premier League is because they are basically working under a guideline that backs their mates. So simply, if Anthony Taylor gives a penalty and it's soft, it goes to VAR, and instead of VAR going, well, look, we know what a penalty is, we've seen penalties given for that, that's not a penalty, Anthony, it's not a penalty, you need to give a goal kick or a free kick or anything like that. They don't do that. They try and back the referee on the pitch, which is subjective. What we want is a very concise and understandable rule, because the most important people in football are you, the fans. And when you're watching a game at the ground or you're watching a game on the TV, you want to be, it's empowering as a football fan to see a pass. I saw Liverpool against Bournemouth at the weekend, and their winger for Bournemouth has the ball, and I can see Solanke unmarked centrally on the halfway line. And I'm going, if you play that pass, he's through one-on-one. You see the pass, the player doesn't see the pass. That's empowering. It makes you feel knowledgeable. It makes you feel like you know the game. It's the same with officiating. If you see a handball, you go, that's a handball. That was a handball last week. That's a handball. I know that's a handball. Then it doesn't get given. You know what a penalty is. You know what a red card is. And the problem this season is they're taking away that empowerment from fans. They're taking away the understanding of the game. The people's game is understood and is the people's game because football fans know it. They can talk about it with their mates at work, down the pub, at school, even to themselves when they're watching it with other people. You communicate because you understand it. You go, that is a foul. That's right. That's not a foul. The problem is they've made football very insular. They've taken it to their little PGMOL group and made it about what they think in their little conversation in their ear. And we are just the uneducated spectator. And that's what the PGMOL have done. They've taken away the understanding of the game, the thing that makes it great. So that when you watch the Championship or you watch a game without VAR, you get your power back and you enjoy it more. And this is where the PGMOL have not figured it out. They are ruining the game because they are taking the fans out of it. They are making us not understand the game we love. We see a handball, like when Danny Ings has that shot on goal and it gets blocked by a hand. It should be a hand. It should be a handball. Not necessarily because he's done it on purpose, not necessarily because his hand is close to his body, but because that's a shot on goal in the last minute that could have won West Ham the game. And he's blocked it with his hand. It's an unfair advantage. It's even more unfair when you go at the other end and give a dodgy penalty. So instead of West Ham winning potentially 3-1, they draw 2-2 because you get two major decisions wrong. It's incredible. And then you go to the Forest game where Ivan Toney is accused of cheating for moving the ball and the foam. Oh my God, no. Absolutely not. Can I just say, referee's got a lot to do on the pitch. He's not a nurse, but he has got a lot to do. Forest wall and goalkeeper should be aware of the ball being moved. But what I find incredible, and most people seem to have missed, is this is again a major VAR PGMOL failing. If Nottingham Forest get relegated by a point, they can go back to this incident and say, thank you very much to PGMOL. You contributed to our relegation and loss of tens of millions of pounds. Because what happens there is, when a ball is put in place by a referee, if a player moves it, it's in the guidelines, it's an illegal move and should be moved back. The referee on the pitch misses it, Toney moves it, he scores a goal, what do you think VAR were doing? What do you think VAR were doing? VAR will see a goal that we think's a goal. I remember Harry Maguire, was it against Burnley or something? Or maybe it was Fulham. Goal goes in. They analyse it for 3 minutes and find a way to say that somebody's pube was offside and therefore it's not a goal. So they can find weird and wonderful ways not to give goals when, to the untrained eye, it's a goal. But when a player, when all they've got to do is watch a free kick, like the only thing they've got to watch is the free kick. And when a player moves the ball and then takes the free kick, they don't notice that on VAR. Incredible. I mean, for me, that's one of the worst VAR decisions of the season. To not notice that a player has moved the ball and tell the referee about it is incredible. And yet again, we are living in this world of complete and utter dismay. And they won't do anything about it. But I and many other people won't stop talking about it because it's not about being a Manchester United fan. This is happening to West Ham, it's happening to Fulham, it's happening to Wolves, it's happening to Liverpool. I mean, who hasn't it happened to? And the only way that we might get some fairness is if it actually happens to everybody equally, but it won't. There are certain clubs it doesn't seem to happen to. There are certain clubs that can be dissentful and never get a yellow card, whereas some people will get 2 in a row and get a red card. As we saw with Tomiyasu at the start of the season. You know, he's sent off for time wasting on a throw-in. It's just haphazard nonsense. It's shit. It's crap. It's rubbish. And what would I do? Yes, I would switch it off, but they're probably not going to do that. But what they do need to do, and I've been saying it all season, if the people working for you are that inept, get a little bundle of, you know, them plastic sleeves so they can't spill their coffee and the food on it. Get a bundle in the VAR room for everybody who works in there where they can open it up and go to a section of this is what a handball is, this is what a red card is, this is what a penalty is, and get rid of it wasn't an obvious error, it wasn't clear and obvious. Get rid of that. If I'm a referee, fuck that. If I'm a football fan, I don't want to know that VAR are sat there trying to back the referee on the pitch. The referee is seeing it in real time. They will make mistakes. I don't have a massive problem with the referee on the pitch. They will make mistakes. What I don't want to do is have technology that is not being used properly because we're trying to back the guy who's made a mistake. If a referee gives a soft penalty and VAR look at it and go, that's not a penalty, even though there's a little bit of contact, overrule it. Overrule it with the confidence that you have a back catalogue. Basically, football would be better with VAR if they educated everybody on the sense that we're not going to do, you know, clear and obvious. We're going to say, on day one, weekend one, Curtis Jones, I know it wasn't, but that Curtis Jones red card will always be a red card in the Premier League this season. Rest assured, that will always be a red card. Anything like that will be a red card. So Clivert would be a red card. Rest assured, a handball will always be a handball in these scenarios. We won't have any inconsistency on that. Penalties will always be a penalty in these scenarios. We're not going to start giving penalties for people where there's no contact, etc., etc. The consistency is better if they follow the rules. And I want VAR to overrule referees. I don't want them to try and back them on the pitch. I want VAR to have... The whole point of VAR for me is there to review with a bit of time. Don't back the referee on the pitch if he gets it wrong. Don't try and, you know, protect the referee on the pitch if he's got it wrong. And I think the referees on the pitch will be happier with that. Work in tandem to make the game better. How hard is that? Anyway, get your comments in. Make sure you smash a like on the video. And please, please, please get on the Goldbridge Saves Football podcast scene. Support that channel like you support this. Support that podcast like you support this. It's a great way to just put your headphones in. Go and get a bit of exercise in January. Go on a walk. I know it's boring. Go on a run. I know it's boring. But listen to the Goldbridge Saves Football podcast. We do 2 a week. That's 2 hours where you can be out and about, exercising, walking, but also listening to something better than traffic or stupid birds singing. Thanks for watching. And I'm not talking about the Spice Girls. See you in a bit. Thanks for watching.